Welcome to the Whovian Wire podcast, in which we go through each episode of Doctor Who after watching it and yap about it because we're both Doctor Who nerds. This is Josh and I am Alan, and today's episode we are focusing on the Unquiet Dead. Okay, we'll do this. What's your initial thoughts going into the episode after obviously watching it before?
Going into it, I'm like, I never really enjoyed it as much. I never really enjoyed the past, the ones that are set like very far in the past. Like this is what 1869.
Yes.
So
yeah. I will agree with you. To be fair, it's never been one of them like episodes of like, wow, this is Doctor Who at its greatest. Yeah, but obviously open mind going into it because who knows, it could be a 10/10 on rewatch. Even I've seen it like 20 times.
Yeah, it didn't change my thought of it. I know there's some new things, but we'll get into that one.
We'll discuss at the conclusion. So I guess we'll just begin, and obviously when there's the bits you need to know or anything, we can talk about. So obviously it opens up with the funeral home, in which it's I don't know what you call a funeral home person. A hostess? A host? I don't know what you would call like some...
I was going to say the curator, but...
Is it the curator? I don't even know.
I don't know. But it's not really that. It's not that very like...
It's
focus on that.
So yeah, anyway, so it's him and a young gentleman who is grieving the loss of his grandmother, I believe. And then he just says, "Do you need a minute?" And he walks out the room to let him be with his grandmother. In which, whilst he's looking down in despair, the grandmother starts to go blue, and then the eyes open like, wow. And then she grabs him by the neck, and then obviously starts banging around. So the older man, who is the host or whatever, runs into the room to try and separate the fight. But before he can do anything, the young man's neck gets broken, which is nice. But the more concerning thing, what everyone notices, is how the old man doesn't seem too scared. He seems more like, oh, not again. In which he literally tries to then push down the old woman with the top of a coffin door. And then, obviously, the strength of the 86-year-old woman overcame the man, in which he gets knocked out. She walks out the room into the street for the opening. You hear, like, screaming, like, oh, walking towards the camera, and that's the intro to the episode. Any notes from that bit?
Well, it just really just sets the mood because, like, like a normal episode is somewhat scary and unusual, and has some little things that you do notice, like how you said, "Oh yeah, not again."
Yeah, like it.
So
we obviously know. Yeah, so we obviously know if this isn't like new and it's been happening before. We just don't know why, or what, or whom. But yeah.
Ooh, what, where, when, and how?
But so anyways, so after the opening credits, the Doctor and Rose are back in the TARDIS. Now, I don't even know if we mentioned it fully, but have we talked about the TARDIS design?
How do you mean?
Like, have we actually spoke about what the TARDIS looks like? I can't remember if we did that in the first episode or not.
I can't remember, to be honest. Well, I don't go watch them.
I'll go over just in case, but I do have to say I do like this TARDIS design. It's got like earthy, living kind of feel to it, which I like.
I don't like the green tint.
No, does it get better with David Tennant's? Definitely.
Yeah.
It
might be just the camera quality. It is very 2004 or 5, but
yeah, I think it might be the camera quality what is overshadowing the green. Even though saying that, but is it series 2 where the TARDIS has more of a blue glow to it? I feel like there's like a blue glow. Anyways, we're skipping ahead of series.
I think there's always like a tint with each one. Yes, it's just it feels like less opaque, less thick of a color. And you can still see all the colours of the rest of the TARDIS.
Yeah. But I would say I like it. I mean, obviously, yeah, the green glow is a bit questionable, but again, he's just come out of war, from what we know so far. So he's seen things. But then we get an awesome shot, which we don't even get much nowadays, of the Doctor like talking to us, saying we're going back in time, and then he does the whoosh on the on the console, and then we actually see the TARDIS flying through the vortex at like full speed in a blue vortex, meaning it's going backwards. Ooh, oh.
Ooh.
But
Makes no difference, but okay.
it does. It shows that it's going back in time, Josh.
Yeah, but the thing is, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I don't think. Yeah, no one gets phased at all by it. But but I do like the fact. Like, I wish that shot was more common. Like, we don't even see it much in modern Who. I like seeing the TARDIS actually going through the vortex. I don't know. I like it. I like that shot. It's a good shot.
I think the last time we actually saw it in proper modern was when
it was a Sutek. Yeah, it was Sutek. Yeah. And even then, it doesn't even look great.
Shooty there, but Sutek comes back.
Yeah, but it didn't even look great in that episode, did it? I mean, okay, but we're skipping ahead we're skipping ahead like 15 series now.
15 years.
Anyways, well, let's move on to the episode instead of talking about future Doctor Who. So
that's how boring the episode is.
So, and then it cuts to someone called Gwyneth, who is played by Eve Miles, who we don't really know yet because if you watched it at the time, but will then go on to play Gwen Cooper in Torchwood, who is in the Doctor Who universe. Well, spin-off.
Something I did like is how that is actually still she's actually related to that person.
Exactly that. Yeah, they've not just like brushed it under the rug. They've not
because as soon as I realised, it's like it fall back to that moment in I think like Journey's End or something, wasn't it? It's like when they do that.
Yeah. Like it's just like a little nod in it, like because they could have easily just pushed it under the rug. It was one episode, blah-dee-dee-doo. But no, they actually thought, why not just say it's like a great, whatever. So anyways, so we do see Gwyneth. She's talking to the old man, yes. And he's like, where's she gone? The 86-year-old woman who at the beginning of the episode walked out. Now we're wondering why he's asking her that, but then she seems to be able to have an ability to see or at least feel where she's gone by saying she's gone to see a great, great man from London. We don't know who that is yet, but
it's probably. I bet everyone thought it was gonna. Well, unless you watched the next time thing.
True. Yeah.
Unless you watch the next time, you wouldn't have realised that. Oh yeah, he meant Charles Dickens. You probably thought, oh, he's on about the Doctor.
So then, anyways, so after he asks her, and it's like, see a great, great man. It cuts to Charles Dickens. Whoa. Yeah, so Charles Dickens appears, and he seems illish. Like, he seems ill. Like, or at least tired. Like, he doesn't seem great, shall I say? At least that's what I noticed in the episode. Like, he doesn't seem,
Yeah, it's how I was at work, Just very tired, very ill.
Bored of a job.
because like as he does say, it's like the same. He is the same thing that he does over and over.
Oh yeah, trust me. Yeah, retail does that too.
And it's Christmas
Eve.
Does that
to a man.
On Christmas Eve, and
all right, okay. Let's not compare our retail jobs to a guy who's baller. God forbid I have to read the book I read. Oh, but so
yeah, but that's the thing. Like he's having to read it over and over. Like yes, he's getting paid for it, but
I guess
wouldn't you get bored of it?
Yeah, I guess.
Even if he wrote it, like
I get it. It's just then again, you do have to think. You know what? That's like saying let's write a song and then getting bored of singing the song. It's like no, you wrote the song. The song's made you money. Either don't sing the song again or don't get fed up when you have to do it. So anyways, another thing I do like is it cuts back to then the Doctor and the Doctor and the Doctor and Rose in the TARDIS, and the Doctor pretty much tells her, well, you can't go out looking like that in 1869 or 60 as he thought it was. So she's like, so he points her to where the closet is in the TARDIS, which I do like, where it's like you first left, then go right, then go down the stairs, past the pool, or whatever he says. It's like I just
Thing
like
is,
how
you don't see the opening shot of like the whole TARDIS of where to go. Like I've never seen another door in that TARDIS, apart from going upstairs when David Tennant like changes his clothes. I don't see anything else. I don't see another room. Is there another room? Or am I just being fake?
I don't think you actually see a doorway, do you, in that TARDIS?
Exactly, but like he tells her to go through a doorway. That's the
I'm
thing.
gonna assume it's like there's a downstairs bit where you go down. I don't know. I've actually questioned that. Like we see it in future episodes, like like the spiral staircase with the massive wardrobe, but we
Even then, that's only in that episode. It doesn't get really shown.
literally like, oh wow, he's actually got full on covered. Never seen again. But yeah, no, yeah, true actually. But I mean, I still find it funny that it is so like a million directions, and it's like, okay. Rose then gets on her outfit, and then she's still excited to, like, she tells the doctor, "No, you are not going out first. This is my turn." Which I do like that it's still going on in the third episode, like, because I feel like some companions after the first episode are just then not phased by like time travel. Like,
It depends, because in some of them, it kind of skips how many adventures they do.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
So I don't know if it was in the recent one. Yeah, it was in Shooters where they actually skipped a few adventures anyway, and they kept on going like,
Did they?
and then some were actually shown, some weren't.
Right.
So
Right.
after like 2 episodes, it kind of just they weren't phased by it.
But anyways, but I do like that she steps out. You see the footprint, and it's like you like it feels like a very wholesome, like oh wow, she's really happy about this like situation at hand. So
Wouldn't you? We live in the same fucking economic state as well.
yeah, true. I don't have to work again. I can just do this for a living, right? I like that, but she's still at least excited about the adventure, should I say? And one thing I will also mention about this episode is I think the set design is brilliant. Like, I feel like sometimes the set design for Doctor Who can be very lazy, where this one felt good. Like, they actually made the street look very Victorian and everyone in the Victorian outfits.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, like, like it just felt very, I don't know. I feel like they actually put effort in to make it feel Victorianish.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's just a little passing comment, keeping me not from being bored. So,
ooh, Piscani. Ooh, Piscani.
And so then it cuts back to Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens? Charles Dickens. Charles.
Is it Dickens? I thought it was Dickens.
Might be Dickens. Yeah, I don't know why I'm getting rid of
Let's
the
just
S.
call him Charlie. He hates it, but...
yeah, no. So anyways, it cuts back to Charlie, which the women call him. So he is reading a bit from the Scrooge, the famous when Scrooge walks up the steps to his door, like knocker, and sees Marley's face and gets startled. But whilst he's describing the ghostly face of Marley, he looks out into the audience and is like, it looks like her. And everyone just stares, and it's just, well, the old 86-year-old woman is like blue and it's going crazy, and she stands up and screams, and then everyone starts to panic, which the Doctor and Rose hear. And I love that the Doctor smiles when he hears someone scream. Instead of like panic, it's like you hear the scream and it just cuts to the Doctor smiling and then runs.
Yeah, but this is after he realises, oh yeah, it's Cardiff. Not only did he get off by like 10 years, it's also Cardiff.
Yeah. Do you want to go back to 1860s London at Christmas? Oh, wait, it's Cardiff. But yeah, so I guess, yeah, true. He probably got excited by the fact of, being able to just run and actually do something fun. So then Charles Dickens sees what's going on and is in disbelief. Like, he doesn't believe it's a ghost, but he doesn't know what's going on. But you can tell that he's like...
Yeah, he's meant to be like this great writer, and then seeing some of that he can't really explain.
Yeah. So everyone else in the audience is thinking, we are going to die. Where Charles is on the stage like, what menace is doing this? So then the Doctor and Rose get to the theatre, and they they kind of they don't really do much apart from like the doctor goes up to Charlie, and Rose sees the 86-year-old getting taken away by the funeral home people. So Rose is like, I'll stop them, whilst the doctor speaks to Charlie. And then whilst he's speaking to Charlie, like, what's happened, he sees that the ghostly entity goes into a gas thing. What do you call them?
A gas candle.
Yeah, gas candle. So he's like, oh, it's made of gas. So he's already starting to crack what it could be. And so then the doctor realizes that, and then whilst that's going on, it cuts back to Rose trying to stop them from taking the 86-year-old woman, and Gwyneth is saying, oh, she's just saying we're going to take her to the medics ward, where Rose then examines the body and it's like, she's been dead for days. And then the funeral host man just comes up behind Rose and chloroforms her. I want to say chloroforms. Yeah. I don't think he chokes her out, but chloroforms.
Yeah,
and then
chloroforms.
The one thing that always unsettles me is then he throws her into the back with a dead body, and it's like, ugh, the thought of just laying next to a dead body is, I don't know, creepy. That's something that always made me feel a bit ugh.
I mean, she did just get spat at by an alien in the previous episode.
Yeah. Come on, though. Spit or a dead body. Come on, you got to admit the dead body's worse.
Being left next to one, yes, but at the same time, this is now her thing. She's now like...
Right. So anyways,
I don't know.
The doctor and Charlie run out the theatre and see that Rose is getting kidnapped. And so the doctor runs onto a carriage, like, chase after him, where Charlie comes up behind, like, oi, this is my carriage. And he's like, well, get in then. Which I do love the interaction, what goes on between them, like, the next, 5 minutes, just because obviously the doctor doesn't know it's Charles Dickens yet. He just thinks it's a man who might be in theatre. But whilst on the way there, the coach driver is like, do you want me to get rid of this man, Dickens, or whatever? He mentions the word Dickens. And then the doctor has a moment of like, wait a minute. Who? And it's like, Charles Dickens. Are you
the Charlie?
I am your biggest fan. How are you a fan? How do you cool me down? And it's like, no, I'm like a fanatic. I love every book you've ever written.
What air out of his lungs like I did in the previous episode.
Yeah. But so then the coach driver's like, do you want me to get rid of this man, sir? But obviously Charlie is now flattered by the situation where he's like, no, I guess we can keep him on board. But then the doctor's like, she's 19 and they've kidnapped her, and he's like, what the hell are we talking about books for? And then it literally got like, coach driver, faster.
It does feel very improv-y, like it's good improvisation. For, like, it doesn't feel like it's part of the script half the stuff that these two say.
No, it did feel like a very natural conversation, which just shows good acting, I guess.
Bump up my rating real quick. There we go. Alright, carry on.
Right, so anyways, so then it cuts, there's a lot of cuts going on here. When the Doctor and Rose are together, there's not many cuts, but when the Doctor are apart, there's a lot of it cuts back to. So sorry for saying it a lot this episode. So anyways, it cuts back to Rose getting placed on the table in a funeral home near two dead corpses, as it is a funeral home. And then the door getting locked. And then when Rose awakens, and whilst she's awakening, we see the ghastly creatures going into the dead corpses. At the first, Rose don't know what's going on because they arise, and she's like, are you alright? And then obviously she realizes they're dead. They're like zombies. So she starts to freak out. The Doctor and Dickens gets to the funeral home and pretty much barges their way in, because they obviously know that they've got Rose. But they do notice that the gas seems odd in the place. So whilst that's... Yeah, like they're examining the gas, kind of. And then Rose screams because the guy grabs her and, well, Rose might get her neck broken, as we've seen one person ought to get the neck broken. The Doctor then, obviously, being the hero he is, runs in, bashes the daughter down, and like, this is my dance. Which might be a hint for a future episode.
I was thinking that.
Yeah. So, anyways,
he asks him where he asks like the girl, "So yeah, like why are you here? Who are you?" and stuff. Like he's the Doctor.
Yes.
And then they actually start talking to him.
Yeah, but right, yeah. So we find out that the entity do we know of their name yet? We do find out it's called the Gelth, but we don't know if it's yet. We actually found out the name. But we do know that they're in danger. They do say we can't live like this and then leave the bodies, and then the bodies drop.
Yeah.
Which then it goes to Rose arguing with the funeral home host. Like full on saying, I know you like touched me whilst I was getting chloroformed, and I just love that in the background you just see the Doctor smirking at all this, like he knows that Rose can fight her own battles, so he's just enjoying the show pretty much. Which, yeah, it's bits like this in the episode what makes it a good episode. I would say, like, it stops it from being bad. I would say the dialogue fits like that. But then obviously it goes on to the funeral man. We're not going to find out what the name is, so excuse us for not knowing what you call one of them. He starts talking about how it's been going on for 3 months. Like he says, like it's been going on for like 3-4 months now.
Yeah.
And they say that they've got some form of memory whilst in the bodies. So because, like, for example, the 86-year-old, like the 86-year-old went to go watch Charles Dickens because that was one of the last things she was going to do before she died, and so we like get like a form of okay. Oh, I'll note that down. See what happens. But then the Doctor mentions a gas in which he says, "Yeah, this is new." So the Doctor's like, "Okay, so it's getting stronger." So Charles Dickens, whilst all them yapping about, how long's this been going on for and stuff, we see him leave the room and then start investigating like the gas lamps and like going up to the dead bodies and looking for string because he's just in disbelief. In which the Doctor catches him and he's like, I just don't understand. What trickery is this? In which the Doctor's like, of all people, I thought you would understand the imagination you have. But he's a very, not a cynic, just he's very in disbelief, I should say. Which, fair enough, I think I would be somewhat skeptical, wouldn't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So then the Doctor kind of gives us more of a hint on why they're being able to control the dead bodies is because, obviously, when a human body dies, it breaks down and gets gassy. Hence why they can actually use the dead bodies to move around. This entity can move around. So we're getting little triples of like what this creature could be. And then it cuts to Rose and Gwyneth. They're having like a bonding moment. Like they're talking about boys and school. And you can definitely tell there's a time difference.
She's talking about boys as well. Gwyneth doesn't really.
Gwyneth laughs along. She laughs along and she talks about the butcher's boy who she fancies.
After a bit, because every time every time Rose makes a joke, she just goes like a blank face.
Ooh. But then it gets a bit more serious when Gwyneth casually brings up Rose's dead dad, and it's like, hold on. How do you know that? And she's like, I think your doctor mentioned it. And she's like, he's been dead for years. So we obviously can see that she's using that ability again. And then it gets more deep she kind of starts to almost sound like she's accusing Rose of something because she's like, you're from a strange land. You're from London. You have metal boxes drive by or pass by and metal birds in the sky, planes obviously, and she makes it sound like a very like dark dystopian future. But we know that Gwyneth has like the ability to somehow see the future, which we don't know why she can do that yet or anything like that.
No, I don't think she can see the future. She can see into people's minds and see what they've seen, their memories.
Yeah, no, you are correct. Yes, yes. She
Yeah.
looks into memories. Yeah, you are correct.
But then she doesn't. But then it carries along for a bit until she says the bad wolf, the big bad wolf, and it's like that hasn't. That's the this. I think this is the first time it's actually been brought up for the
That's
whole series, hasn't it?
yes, yes, yeah. I think that's the first breadcrumb of a bad wolf.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, no, I think it will be. And then the doctor obviously was listening whilst being out of shot.
Oh, yeah. This is the thing I sent you
Yeah,
before.
go on.
You can
I wanted
see,
to
you
talk
can
about
see
this
the
actually.
guy. You can see something in the corner, something moving
Are we
because
sure
it's a
it's not the
still
doctor?
camera. It's not the doctor. You can see something in the corner because it's not even in the room. He's standing in the doorway just outside.
Right. Well, Josh might have seen like a mic guy shoulder.
Yeah, my guy, which I found very funny for like the time. Like, yeah, it was 2004, low budget and all that, but it's
I'll see if I can get a very blurry image. And when I say he thinks he's seen it, I mean it's literally you see a bit of a jumper.
still it's funny though.
Yeah, but yeah, this is what Josh was doing to keep himself entertained throughout the episode. He was like, "Let's see what we can look out for." So
I was looking for Easter eggs because this is what I don't normally do. This is what I'm actually like, it's somewhat interesting
no, to be
to
fair,
do.
and you keep doing that. If you want to keep doing that in these episodes to find random Easter eggs, I'm happy for you to do that. Even if it is, you can see the mic guy. But then the doctor's like, so you can do a seance because you are the key to Gwyneth, not Rose, obviously.
Yeah, because she's like because she mentions like how she's grown up above the rift and like she now has these powers.
Yeah, so the doctor's already kind of like figured out that, oh, this is how you're doing it. There's a rift somehow, and you're getting your memories interlinked with them for some reason. So they go into the seance. Charles Dickens, the funeral guy, we all sitting in a circle. And then the Gelth take over Gwyneth's body. And we think they're good. They don't seem too bad. And they mention about the Time War. Whoa! Yeah, I like that they subtly mention the Time War quite a lot because obviously we don't actually know what the Time War is yet, but all we know is that there's been this massive war and we don't know anything about it, but we can tell that the Doctor is distressed from it.
Yeah. Like it's you spot on there. Like there's nothing really to add. It's like
No, yeah, that's true.
you're getting little breadcrumbs of like what's happened with this time war. He mentions it in the first. It's happened. It's mentioned in the second.
Yeah, so we find out that they're like was a smaller race, and they were like like races as small as us was just wiped out of oblivion, and it's like, damn, okay. Hence why they don't have a body no more. So that's what we kind of were doing is looking for bodies, in which they say, "Can we use your dead ones?" Which the Doctor thinks, I mean, yeah, sure. And where Rose is like, no, that's disrespectful. But the Doctor's like, but this will save them. And it's a bit of conflict between Rose and the Doctor then, because she is in disagreement with it. But the Doctor's like, but it's going to save another, species. So it's just a little dispute against them both.
Bad intention.
Makes the plot a bit more thickened. Obviously, they've realised, okay, there must be a weak point of the house where like the rift is at its strongest. So the Doctor asks him and he's like, well, the morgue. And so they go down to the morgue and they're like, you came. The Gelth said that, no one else, not the dead bodies. In which Gwyneth is down to help him. So she asks, what do you need me to do? And she's like, just stand in the arch and we will just use you to get through to some of the dead bodies. And then the Doctor's like, but then when you're in the dead bodies, I am taking you away from this planet. This isn't like a permanent solution. This is just to help your base rebuild. And they're like, of course. The scene happens. We get Gwyneth. Yeah. Yeah. She steps into the arch and then lets him control her again. It all seems fine until it's not. So it starts off with the bodies getting overtaken, and then the not the Gwemp, the Gelth turns like an orangey fire color with like an evil smile, and it's like, this is how you show a villain's bad. So a load of corpses start to rise, and they're like, whoa, this isn't a few of you. And they're like, no, we're going to rebuild our race and use you as our vessels. And it's like, oh shit, plot is thickening. So
at this point, there's only like, I think 10 minutes after the episode.
yeah,
so
they had to kind of like throw it all together, like, go, go, go. Even though when I was younger, actually, I used to think this was a two-parter. I don't know why.
Really?
I just felt like, do you know when they step into the cage and like all the dead people like surrounded them?
Yeah.
For some reason in my head, it felt like a cliffhanger ending. Like I don't know why. I just always pictured it as a cliffhanger ending where.
Did your mum always turn off TV at that point just to like make it seem like that?
No. But it was just something I always thought like. To be like a to be continued about the moment we're about to happen.
Yeah.
Even though it's like 10 minutes left of the episode. For some reason in my head, I always pictured that as a two-part episode. But anyways. So yes, so the Gelth start to take over the dead bodies, and they grab the funeral home guy and break his neck pretty easily. So at least he didn't suffer. And then take over his body. So they're getting an army already. The Doctor and Rose start to back into a corner, into the cage we just mentioned. And Charlie is like, fuck this, I'm out of here. And just runs out the house. He's Charles Dickens, Josh. He can't be dying like this. So
I mean, he dies in the week anyway, it's fine.
Josh, spoilers. So anyways, he runs out of the house, and the Doctor and Rose pretty much accept death. Like, but don't accept death immediately, because Rose is like, I can't die. I'm in the past. Like, you know, I'm not born yet. And the Doctor literally like, you can be born in the 20th century but still die in the 19th. And she's like, huh? Which I don't know how she didn't think.
Where to make a girl feel better, you know?
Yeah, but like, what did she expect to happen? Like, did she think she was invincible that episode?
Clearly, going to save it. She did throw herself in harm's way every chance she got.
Yeah, it's just like, what? One thing I always questioned me, but like, what you thought you wouldn't die? Like, you can, I don't know. It makes no sense. Like, yes, you would be 19 years in 2000s, but then you could still die at 22 in the 1800s if you go back in time and live there. You know, just it was one thing I never really got why Rose didn't understand. But then I love that he kind of does it like, time is not a straight line. If it was like a season or two later, it would have been literally wibbly wobbly. But no, he pretty much just does say time is wibbly wobbly. So Rose is like, huh. But then the Doctor's like, think about me. I'm the one who's lived the life here. And I'm going to die in Cardiff in a basement.
Cardiff of all places.
Yeah, like, I mean, to be fair, valid.
Never been to Cardiff.
Yeah,
so
no, yeah,
I don't know.
You know, a 900-year-old Time Lord who has lived all these adventures to die in Cardiff in a basement. I guess it would feel a bit of not a grand way to die.
No.
But anyway, so then it cuts to Charles Dickens running out the house with one of the ghosts chasing him. And then the cat gets sucked back into the gas lamp, which is outside, in which he has a eureka moment of gas. And then he immediately 180s and goes back inside the house and starts pumping out gas. Which, to be fair, very smart move on his behalf. I don't think I would even clock to do something like that. Even the Doctor didn't clock to do it, and he's smart. So
well, meant to it.
Well, I think he is, but anyways, he's just gullible when it comes to companions. So anyways, he starts running around the house turning on all the gas, and then runs into the basement, and he turns on the gas, and they're like, what are you doing? And it's like, I'm filling up the room with gas, and the Doctor's like, of course! And he's like, but I really do hope this theory works, whilst they're starting to approach him. He's like, Doctor, is this going to take long? So then the Doctor breaks like the gas pipe, so it immediately, whoosh, into the air, in which the Gelth immediately kind of gets sucked back out and, start flying around because they can't stay in a body when there's so much gas surrounding them.
Yeah.
And then, to be fair, the episode wraps up really fast, which I do say does lose it a point, just because it does feel like the last 10 minutes is so like fucking, like a speed train.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It feels very rushed towards the end. Like they didn't have enough time to.
Yeah.
How long is the time for this episode?
4 minutes, I think.
Yeah, that's like on the shorter side of an episode, isn't it?
Yeah, rough. Yeah,
it's mostly between 50 and an hour, but
yeah. So anyway, so Charles Dickens' theories works and saves the gang, but they go up to Gwyneth and say, you need to get these people back inside the rift, but obviously they're too strong now and they've all pretty much left the rift they've been hiding in. But so Gwyneth is like, I can't do that. So she pulls out matches and is willing to sacrifice herself, which Rose is like, no, don't. But she's also choking on gas though, so the Doctor tells Charlie to get those out. And he's like, I'll save her and get her out to Rose to comfort her. And then when the Doctor's like, let me do this, Gwyneth is like, it kind of zoned out, like she doesn't seem fully there. And then the Doctor feels her pulse, and you realize, oh, she's dead. Like she's there, but she's not. She's like a zombie pretty much. But she's holding them.
I think the same thing.
No,
she's a ghost. I think she's a ghost at that point. Same as like what are they called? The Gelth. But she's possessing her own body still. So
yeah, it's almost like she's in like a outer body experience kind of vibe. Like she's controlling it, but weakly. Like she will probably holding on for dear life to even be able to pull the match out, So the Doctor then obviously runs out because, well, no point in him dying in the explosion.
It's a very iconic running scene.
It's a very iconic run scene from the explosion. And yeah, the building explodes. Gwyneth sadly dies in the explosion. And then the Rose is like, she's dead. And the Doctor's like, I'm sorry, but I couldn't do all. And she's like, but she was so young or whatever. I can't actually remember what Rose says, but she said something, she's like sad about it. But when he's like,
yeah,
she's been dead for at least 5 minutes. I think she died the second she entered that archway. And then it's like, fuck. Damn. They are just
Something
monsters. Yeah. And then she's like, a maid has just sacrificed herself to save the world, and no one will remember this. And then it gets a bit, not morbid, but it's a bit of a depressing bit. Like, it's like, damn, this is sad. This is sad. And then it almost does then a 180 in terms of emotions, because it cuts to them walking towards the TARDIS with Charles Dickens, and he's like, I am ecstatic. I am going to write a book about this. I can't remember what he calls the book, but it's like, he pretty much talks about like how he's going to open up the possibility of alien life to the public. And it's like, and Rose is like, oh, like she don't say it in the moment, but she's like, I don't remember reading no book about this. But he's ecstatic and thinking, oh, you've given me like a fresh of breath air. Like you've given me you've given me that bit of life I didn't know I could still live. Yeah, it starts to become a nice conclusion of the ending, because then the Doctor's like, well, now watch this, and about to step into a police box, and it's like, where do you think you're going? And it's like, just watch. You're both getting in there? And it's like, trust me, just watch. So they go up into the TARDIS console whilst watching Dickens on the monitor, and Rose is like, he doesn't write that book. And he's like, no, because in 1 week's time is 1970, the year Charles Dickens dies, so he won't be able to tell his story. And it's like, wow, depressing. But also, I mean, it's good for canon of the universes, because, well, it, like, that could have actually happened, and you would, you could believe it, but, because he never wrote that book. you know, I like it. I like it. It's a good way
It
to.
feels
It's a good way to not change any of the canon of Charles Dickens.
it feels very Van Gogh-y. You know the Van Gogh episode?
Yes. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
literally that episode. Fuck, when we get
This feels
that
like
episode is going to be a
yeah,
good one to talk about.
but this is a very early representation of what that episode is.
Yeah, I think they handled a past character well. I think they've handled him well. Like, I think they portrayed him well, and I think they've handled it in such a way that, yeah, they've done it at the end of his life as well. So, you know, I like it. I like it. It's like he's reached the end of his fame in his life, pretty much, kind of situation, which I think they've handled well. So then the TARDIS starts to, you know, woo, woo, and Charles is in disbelief as he sees the police box disappear, and then I'm assuming it's like like a, what do you call it to celebrate? It's almost like a Christmas Carol ending, because he's literally laughing, walking through the snow, saying, "God bless you, everyone," which is pretty much what Scrooge does at the end of Christmas Carol. You know,
he basically was screwed. At the start, he was depressed.
yeah,
And all
exactly.
that, and
Yeah, he's had like literally had like he's had ghosts. He's had a change of life, pretty much. Like, it is literally pretty much like a nod to Christmas Carol, the ending, which I
Yeah.
think is a nice way to end the episode. I think it's like a nice, not too deep, not too heavy episode. And that is the end of The Unquiet Dead. What's your thoughts, opinions, and overall rating?
Well, as I said, I'm not a fan of the past episodes. The ones that I said this far in the past, anyway.
Yeah, I get that.
So, but I'd say probably around 7. With the whole nods to like the rest of the series and how the ideas will get developed into later seasons, it's still a decent episode.
Yeah, well,
Obviously, it's not one of those that I can like probably watch over and over like
no,
you
yeah.
did. But
Yeah, just to get the still shots for this episode. Don't. I watched it in silence so I wouldn't ruin it completely for me, but it was so, you don't understand. Right, anyways, I've given the episode a 6.5 out of 10. It's a good episode.
that's why I had originally, and then I bumped it up to a 7 just for
Just for
one
that
little bit
monologue
after
scene.
value.
Yeah, like the yeah. I think like, it's a 6.57. It's again, it's a good episode of Doctor Who. It's not one episode I would say ruins anything Doctor Who. It's a very, every TV show has them episodes what, you know, it aren't great, but they're not bad. They're just a very filler episode, should I say. It's a filler episode.
Filler, but still has some sort of like lore implements.
Yeah, like the breadcrumbing, like the Time War and Bad Wolf and stuff, that keeps it going, like at a good pace for the series, which I think is good. So yeah, I would say like a 6.5. It's a good episode, and yeah. Now, for a fun fact, what I've literally just looked up about this episode. So mind me not shortening it down because I've literally just looked it up. So apparently the episode was originally going to be called The Angels of Crippingwell. The original draft was grimmer, including details about the previous death of Gwyneth's younger brother, but the drafts of the story became more of a romp. I don't even know. What does romp mean? I don't know. More romp. Lively, maybe that's what it means? I don't know.
Roughly and energetically. A spell of rough and energetic play.
Right, okay. So they've made it more of a play? Okay, yeah. Whatever that means.
Some of that is actually for kids, because it is meant to be like, the show was meant to be educational for kids, wasn't it? For the past. So, I'm guessing they're still trying to do stuff like that.
And Gattis, the guy who wrote the episode, stated that the name Gelth simply popped into his head. Gattis was encouraged to personify the Gelth, which he originally questioned because he felt that Monsters Whispering Doctor was a cliche. But producer Phil Collinson remarked that perhaps it was cliche because it worked well. And then the riff was added into the plot to simplify the Gelth's origin. Yeah.
I mean, without the rift, we wouldn't have Torchwood. We wouldn't have like half the other storylines that we have today. So
thank you, the Gelth. But yeah, so this is the end of episode 3 of the .2 podcast, Whovian Wire. We are going on to World War III, I believe, is the next episode, or is it Aliens of London first?
Aliens of London, the
Right.
two-parter.
Yeah, it's a two-parter, the Slovene episodes, so you've got that to look forward to. I am skeptical, shall I say. I'll give you a little hint. I am not the biggest fan of these episodes, but I might be watching them and like them. So, yeah, it will be fun. So you got that to look forward to next week.
Yeah, I guess we will, as long as I actually watch it.
Yeah, you better. We're only doing the first part, so, you know.
I also watch them both.
No. So, anyways, thank you for everyone who has watched or listened. And we are still trying to commit to the weekly podcast. So, thank you, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed. And subscribe to the Whovian Wire for more podcast episodes. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.